Hello everyone, I hope you're taking it easy and your day has been great thus far. For this video we'll be going through a unbagging of Combat Patrol issue 19, and Combat Patrol is for the Warhammer 40,000 setting. Now Combat Patrol has recently released here in Australia, about middle of Feb this year being 2026, so I've just had my recent batch of subscription issues come in, starting with issue 19 as part of that 4-issue block. So basically that is why we're here. So getting straight into it, front of the issue. So we have a very interesting piece of artwork here in the background of what I suspect is supposed to be the Parasite of Mortrex. It's a very interesting approach and style to it. Reminds me of something else, but I can't seem to put my finger on it. Otherwise, this particular issue will have the actual model for the Parasite of Mortrex, and this also will be the last of the formal Tyranid units for Combat Patrol, before we roll over into another Combat Patrol, which we've seen hints at in previous page throughs. So that is the front of the issue. Contents. Naturally, we go through the build and the paint side of things for the Parasite Mortrex. From a lore perspective, there is some information regarding the Great Crusade, some fiction regarding the enemy within, which may or may not be related to the Parasite, and there will be part 5 of the Bonds of Honor, which is the story fiction for the Silver Templars. Unsurprisingly, Collect will be for the Parasite of Mortrex, and the play will have, still unsurprisingly, Parasite Mortrex, followed by an Alpha Strike scenario. How to build the Parasite? It's actually not going to be too difficult. It's actually on a single, relatively small runner, so it's pretty much put everything together. Doesn't look like it will need to do much of a sub-assembly. You can pretty much put everything together and have generally free access to most of the detail, which is good. How to paint the Mortrex. Starting with Wraithbone as the undercoat, which isn't overly too surprising, and then using Barak Burgundy to the chitinous armor plating, Squig Orange for the membranes on the wings. So I think this has probably been some of the largest application of Squig Orange in the past few issues. Abaddon Black for, teeth, tendrils, claws, etc. Not too surprising there. And then the Screamer Pink to try and get into the interior mouth of the Parasite. Work in progress of what the Parasite looks like with those paints. It's probably just enough to be tabletop ready, so it's pretty much at the same paint stage as the rest of the Tyranid Combat Patrol. Does it need more work? Probably. I think probably at this point it'll be a lot of the shading and highlights. Reading regarding the Great Crusade. So Master of Mankind, the Emperor, doing what he did initially. So it's pretty much just some lore information there regarding the Great Crusade. No doubt, I'm sure we'll go through the Horus Heresy in issues to come. The Enemy Within. So this is a short story piece, and based on the little photograph here, no doubt the Parasite is probably related to this fiction piece. Definitely not too bad. It's probably a 5-minute read, give or take. Bonds of Honor Part 5. So just continuing that. I do not recall where parts 1 through to 4 are, obviously in issues prior to 19. The data card information, well, that'll be on the back of this page, but Parasite of Mortrex, your little background table random generator, unit name, and then just crossing off each of those deeds as you build the Parasite. That's pretty much what a parade ready Parasite of Mortrex would look like. So yes, there's definitely some shading and highlighting yet to still do on the model. The data sheet, which may or may not have had some changes as we've transitioned into 11th edition. And then from a play side of things, how to basically play the Parasite of Mortrex. So in terms of war gear, what we'll have, a borrowed ovipositor, which is a melee weapon, and clawed limbs, which of course are melee as well. Some of the attributes: lightning fast and battle shock, lack of durability, which tends to be a common thing against a lot of Tyranid units until you get to some of the larger ones. So that's just going through that barbed ovipositor, and then I guess what it could possibly do to a squad of Infernus Marines. Or is this where the Infernus Marines are doing a bit of a battle shock test? Either. Scenario 15, Alpha Strike. So, Space Marine Tyranid unit breakdown, how to win, and the actual scenario, deployment zones, etc. Breakdown of the Tyranid turn 1, so each of the 5 different phases and all that. Diagram of basically what they are doing, and they're pretty much going full pelt. Space Marines turn 1, and each of those various phases within it, and how they're retaliating, not too well by the looks of it. And then naturally will be the typical Space Marine or Tyranid victory. Based on the images, I would like to think the Tyranids would probably win. Combat Patrol. So it's interesting how we have this. So this is pretty much just a little bit of a visual preview of pretty much expanding your Tyranid fleet if you did elect to do a Tyranid Combat Patrol. So there's a number of units here that obviously weren't included, the Screamer Killer being one, and things like that. So yes, good way to expand. And then lastly, just the typical preview. So issue 20, which we already know about, will be the Chaplain on bike, and we'll pretty much round out the Space Marine Combat Patrol. And then issue 21 will start the Eldari Combat Patrol with an Eldari Farseer. So that'll be the example character choice, most likely. So that was issue 19. What else was included? Well, pretty much the thing that starts throughout most of the actual magazine issue. The base plate for the actual Parasite. It's probably a 40mm, I'd imagine. Yeah, it's a 40mm. I would have thought something a bit bigger. And lastly, the actual sprue for the Parasite. So that's pretty much the working end and the other end. Although in saying that, we do get to see some of the other side of the membranes on the wings. So that's not too bad. When was this sprue produced? 2022. So most likely with Leviathan. It's probably my best guess. So that is that. So that brings us to the end of the page through issue 19, the formal end of the Combat Patrol for the Tyranids in terms of collecting them. And as I've mentioned a few times already, next issue we'll see the wind down to the Space Marines. So it's been a fun 20 odd issues, collecting 2 parallel Combat Patrols. No doubt issues, was it 21 to 40 will probably do the same thing between Chaos and the Eldari, and I'm sure they'll start to bleed in a few additional units from other armies as well. Anyway, leaving it there, that's enough. Thank you very much for watching this page through video for Combat Patrol. Feel free to leave a comment, like, subscribe if you enjoyed the content. It does support the channel, I do appreciate it. There's also stuff on my Instagram and the YouTube community tab. It's largely work in progress stuff that I'm working on at the time. Some of it's 40k, some of it's not. Feel free to check it out. With that being said, stay safe and take care, and I'll catch you all in a future video, whether it's issue 20 of Combat Patrol or something else on the channel. See ya.